What a sadistic little monster this person is. If you want to personally understand like what the leading minds in the Democratic Party operate as, here it is. What's the difference? What separates you from Republicans at this point? You need to see this Democratic strategist crashing out on Twitter. I can't believe the D's lost when we have professors at AZ State using racial slurs against white people. I can't believe the Dems lost when they have peak gringo strategists like this one. Racial slurs against white people? You're openly hoping for racial violence to target Muslims? No, I'm telling you the check is coming due for their naivete about Trump's plans for them. Yeah, gringo is a slur now. Okay. And so is cracker. Please. It's worse than that. She's absolutely unhinged. Here's a full list of people I'll be shot in Freuding over the Trump check, over when the Trump check comes due. The climate nuts who attack cultural artifacts and shut down traffic. The pro-Hamas people. Working class people who just voted themselves back to peasantry. Blacks for Trump. McConnell R's. Latinos for Republicans. Women's for Republicans. What am I missing? Jill Stein voters. They are covered in the climate nuts and the Hamas lovers. I probably won't be able to stop the schadenfreude when Shahid gets deported. Oh my God. Fantasizing about the deportation of a Muslim Democratic strategist is crazy work. Okay? That is crazy, brother. Yo! Like, these are people who are actively being like, here's what we need to solve. We want the Democrats to win. Please, 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 please. Okay? Former advisor to Jamie Harrison, aka the chair to the DNC. Yeah, if you want to understand, if you want to personally understand like what the leading minds in the Democratic Party operate as, here it is. What a sadistic little monster this person is. As the son of a gringo and a Haiole, please don't joke. What is a Haiole? At least the people disagreed in the replies. I mean, who gives a shit? When I tell you high-level people were in meetings with this lady and she went on a national tour doing seminars with campaigns like she was actually influencing shit. Yeah. No, I know. I see it. I know. I know. These are the top minds of the Democratic Party. Do you understand why there's an issue here? Do you get what's going on? Yes, and Muslim. Haitians, other people of African descent, will be the first to be targeted. Yes, and Muslims and trans people and Latino people, which is why I'm going scorched earth on people who helped Trump win by doing stupid shit all year. Most of whom won't pay the check because they'll have options for themselves. You literally want those people to suffer because they didn't vote for your political party. Why are you trying to pretend otherwise? You gave yourself away. You can't unring the bell, dude. No, I want the people who led these movements into not voting for Harris to suffer. They won't, though. All of them have exit options. The people that screwed over or not. Oh, Howley. Yeah, I wonder why tens of millions of people that previously had voted for the Democratic Party didn't show up to vote with these top minds leading the battle. I mean, this level of like entitlement over people's votes and this level of like genuine resentment for the average voter that they're supposed to at least aesthetically claim to care about is so funny. Like top Democrat campaign strategists openly saying that, oh, you black people and you Latinos and you Muslims, you're going to all get deported because you didn't vote for the candidate that, because of my candidate. I'm fantasizing about like all of you getting deported right now and then simultaneously acting like, you deserve this deportation because you didn't vote for me. It's like, yeah, if you have that kind of attitude, of course people are not going to literally vote for you. Yeah, I just imagine Hamas killing you type beat. Exactly. Yes, I know she was the advisor to Jamie Harrison. Look at this. Election Whisperer says, don't panic about Trump versus Biden polls. Rachel Byte-Kofer, who gleefully fantasizes about deporting people, was once advising DNC chair Jamie Harrison should tell you everything. When leadership listens to voices dripping with this kind of venom, it's no surprise they lost to Donald Trump. Rachel currently serves as the DNC committee chair Jamie Harrison. In previous roles as the advisor to DNC and the Michigan Democratic Party, she offers strategic consulting and voter projections to ensure candidate victories. Toppling paradigms for near-perfect results accuracy in every cycle since 2018, Rachel secured her reputation as the election whisperer for political forecasting. She's doing that populism now. Election Whisperer says, don't panic. Oh, wow. Look at this one. If France goes to fascism, it'll be because of the refugees they took in from war-torn Middle Eastern countries are using French freedom to shit all over the country that gave them refuge. Liberals don't want to hear it, but when you bring 6 million non-white people into a country with an already resurgent racism issue while inflation is high, you're going to pay a price. If we survive, we need to meet the electorate where it is on immigration. The question I always have for these dipshits is like, why aren't you just a Republican then? It seems like you have Republican attitudes. It seems like you are openly a reactionary charlatan. What is the difference between you and the average Republican? I don't understand it. This is a question I have for Bill Maher as well. This is a question I have for Bill Maher. Bill Maher, and there was someone who basically posted a TikTok of this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. My sentiment about Bill Maher the other day. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is.
This is the thing that I despise about smarmy liberals that fancy themselves to be so much more intelligent than the dumbass Republicans, while simultaneously they hallucinate in the same exact direction as those dumbass Republicans. They have a purpose, okay? They have a reason for this cognitive dissonance. They're mainlining it on a daily basis from Fox News. You, on the other hand, you're supposed to be well-educated. So what's your excuse, you idiot? Like, how the f can you be like, these stupid Republicans believe the dumbest things, and I believe them too? Ugh. Like, what? They're transphobic. So are you. They think we need to have a muscular border policy because immigrants are doing crimes. So do you. They want Israel to be able to melt Gaza. So do you. What's the difference? That you're just like marginally more pro-gay than the average hog? Is that what it is? Yeah, they're anti-vaxxers. So is Bill Maher. What's the difference? Like, what is it? What do you want? What more do you want? He wants the Republican policies, but he wants to be smug and intellectual about its defense. You stupid, dumb Republicans don't understand. Like, what is it? Why did he vote Democrat if his stance is Republicans? He just hates the Republicans. He thinks the Republicans are dumb. He hates Republicans. He thinks Republicans are dumb. He claims to hate religion but loves Israel, okay, which is a religious ethno-state. So there's that. You know, don't have that intellectual hang-up. So how the f did you arrive at so many similar goddamn positions to the average hog then?
That's it. That's it. Hey, it's me in the comments chat. Nice. What is that? What's the difference? What separates you from Republicans at this point? You constantly talk about how much you hate the Republican Party, but then you also talk about how awesome their ideas are and how awesome the dumb hogs are, or how right they got certain things. Okay? Yeah, the hat color is different. Anyway, speaking of the Democratic Party and where the Democratic Party is taking us in the lame duck session, will they actually make sure that Lena Khan has at least until 2026? Will they make her position permanent? Who knows? Will they use that as an opportunity? Will they use the lame duck session as an opportunity to build up a resilient network of laws and rules that potentially could at least undermine the upcoming Trump administration? Probably not. 94-95 is actually bouldering its way through both the House of Representatives and the Senate, it seems, which, by the way, is a nuclear atomic bomb for any sort of activist organization, any sort of activist nonprofit. The Treasury can just simply, without any evidence whatsoever, declare any group to be a terror organization, no evidence necessary, and take away their nonprofit status. Just so you understand, that doesn't, right now, the Democrats are voting for it because they are, AIPAC hacks that think, oh yeah, they'll just take away all the pro-Palestinian advocacy groups. Okay? They're stupid. It won't just stop with the Palestinian advocacy groups. It shouldn't even extend to Palestinian advocacy groups regardless. But it won't stop there. Okay? The Republicans will go after every single non-profit. Okay? You are a psycho. Here's Chris Murphy, who has become more woke in these last couple of months, saying a frequent tool of dictators is to label politician opposition groups as terrorist groups and shut them down. This bill up for a vote this week would give Trump the power to do just that. It's disastrous, and apparently there are House Democrats considering voting for it. Straight up, dude. Straight the f up. They are going to come after Planned Parenthood. They're going to come after every special group. Every special interest group. I'm telling you right now. I am telling you right now. Trevor Project, any sort of LGBTQ advocacy group, every single one of them is gone. And these dumb Democrats, 52 of them already voted yes. 52 Democrats voted yes for this. Any sort of immigrant advocacy group will be targeted with this. It's not just going to be, you are just being alarmist right now, bro. Seen this already in spades. I know. Yeah, I'm being so alarmist. Why? Because I take Trump seriously when he says he's going to do something. Can't they just make it for profit? Brother, what are you saying? These are nonprofit advocacy groups that rely on their nonprofit status so that they can maintain donations. What are you talking about? What the who's going to donate if they don't even get a tax break out of it? You are cutting across their structure, their revenue generation structure dramatically. This is how you undermine labor unions as well. When their tax exemption goes away, when their tax exemption status goes away, all of a sudden, significantly less people are going to be able to donate to these places. This is how they did. This is how they undermined labor unions in this country. Many people don't recognize this, but they tackled the revenue structure of labor unions. That's how they went after it, and they presented it as a pathway. Not trying to be smart, just trying to understand if there's any way out of this. Yeah, if they make it for profit, then there's no tax exemption. If you donate to them, can they go after you for saying you support terrorists? Yes, they already do that. At first, people say, I'm alarmist. Then they recognize that it's happening, at which point they go, okay, maybe you weren't alarmist, but I still remember how you made me feel when you were ringing the alarm bells, so I'm going to carry on that resentment against you. That's usually how this goes. History does have the capacity to vindicate me with regular frequency, and yet the people that originally were against what I was saying never forget how I made them feel. I made them feel stupid and weak and small in that moment. And even if they do agree with me now, even if they understand that, or even if they've independently arrived at the conclusion, maybe when it's far too late, they still remember the resentment that they had early on, and they carry on that resentment, and they still continue with the fuck Hasan shit. Anyway, then perhaps you should find a way to engage that won't create that reaction. Yes, you're right. It's my fault that I'm right, and people would rather shoot and kill the messenger than, re-examine their position. You're correct. All this means is, yeah, no, I'm dumb, and it's your fault that I am. Anyway. I know Dr. Oz is going to be in charge of Medicare and Medicaid. Here is Dana Fash saying some unhinged ass bullshit about the neo-Nazi demonstrations that took place in Columbus, Ohio the other day.
Talk about something that happened over the weekend, not in your district, in Columbus. A group of neo-Nazis paraded through that city waving swastikas, covering their faces. This is not the first time this sort of thing has happened in Ohio in particular, and of course it's continuing to spread. We don't know what side of the aisle this comes from. I mean,
yeah, you don't really. You don't know. You don't know which side of the aisle this comes from. Are you out of your dang mind? Shut the up, dude. Like, how can you say that? In all honesty, like, how can you say that? CNN has lost their dang minds, dude. What a crock of nonsense. What a crock of shit.
Typically, neo-Nazis are for the far right.
Yeah.
You had protests from the far left at your house.
Correct.
As a Jewish member.
Yeah. Yeah, they slept outside my house for days. My takeaway is this has got to stop. And the surge of anti-Semitism is global, but it's certainly here in the United States. And
like, imagine staring down the barrel of American fascism and just being like, let me use this as an opportunity to shit on pro-Palestinian demonstrators, many of which are Jewish themselves, by the way, but we're going to conveniently ignore that reality, Psychos. They don't give a shit about anything. This is why liberals engage in water carrying for the Trump administration on a regular basis, because Trump can do all of the mean and violent things that they too desire, but they can't openly state. Okay? It's great. You can maintain your moral high ground aesthetically while simultaneously basically, agreeing with a lot of the shit that Trump is doing. That's it. I know Dr. Oz is in charge of Medicare and Medicaid, chat. I know.
And it does require leaders on both sides of the aisle to say, don't do that.
Trying to confront the right on Twitter on this, and the base of the argument is they're feds because, trust me, bro. I mean, dude, do they have federal agents in neo-Nazi movements? Absolutely. What do you think, that doesn't exist? No. Some are ideologically there, and others are there to infiltrate and intercept and maybe use them as a tool whenever they see fit. I do agree with that statement. Having said that, however, these neo-Nazi movements suspiciously become infinitely more prominent and infinitely more galvanized when Donald Trump becomes president. How the f did that happen? Yeah, being feds are their day job. Yeah, there is an undercurrent of resilient fascist sentiment in this country. And the more that kind of sentiment is normalized at the top of the leadership, the more these people feel comfortable openly demonstrating. That's it. It's that simple. It's not that crazy. Do I believe that there are feds involved in the process? Yes, I do. Okay? Of course. Of course. But that does not change the reality that this is, a resilient, never examined neo-Nazi movement that very much exists in this country. Has never really gone away.
Is your party doing that enough?
I think some in my party are doing a ton and some are silent.
Yeah. Growing fascism and using. I was wrong. There's a bald man Hasanabi resents. Absolutely. Staring down the barrel of growing fascism in this country and using it as an opportunity to bash anti-genocide protests by equating them to neo-Nazis is preposterous. These people feel entirely too comfortable with this new admin. Yeah. Even worse, Dana Fash moment. Yeah. You came to a place of Jewish worship, stood on the bima near the Holy Torah scroll, and pretended to be
about something
congregants. You have no shame, no decency, no clue what you're talking about. Code Pink says, Code Pink, by the way, is led by Medea Benjamin, a tiny Jewish lady who I love and have deep admiration for. Okay. And, many of the Code Pink activists are like elderly Jewish folk, for the record. So just so you understand, like these people have been invested in the no war movement for a very long time. But let's see what happened here.
Hi, my name is Joyce Holzman. I'm a member of this community, and I want to tell you that I'm really upset at what I perceive to be the conflation of anti-Semitism. This is not true, and that is very anti-Semitic and very dangerous to our Jewish community and our Jewish values. When you do that,
yeah, this is like every Code Pink activist, by the way. Just so you understand, like virtually every Code Pink activist is like a 65-year-old tiny Jewish lady. Okay, I have endless respect for them. Everybody always talks about how like they're backed by the Russians or whatever they are. Some of the sweetest people. Okay, and they're fantastic. They're great. They've been at this game for a very, very long time as well.
that, I just don't know if you understand that you are being a mouthpiece for the genocide in Gaza. That is wrong. Genocide is the most anti-Semitic thing out there. This woman is 90 years old. She's a Holocaust survivor. She stands outside the White House every single day because she lost people in the Holocaust, and she's aware that what is going on now is a Holocaust. Do you have an answer for me? I'd really like to know.
Okay.
What
I'm not here to debate. I will just say one thing. Being anti-Israel, anti-Israeli government is not anti-Semitic.
Okay. Well, that's what the protests are about on campus.
No.
And you cited them several times. I have been to those protests.
Have you been to the ones at my house where they call me Zionist trash and call?
Yo, dude, come on, dude, come on. Like, Like, what are you saying? What are you saying, dude? It's so funny. Oh my God. Everything is so no self-reflection whatsoever. Okay? No self-reflection whatsoever. No reason. Yeah, I'm the real victim in this situation. My feelings were hurt because people said I was a Zionist. Now, I have to be very careful because I don't want to get banned. Okay? Twitch's official position is that saying someone is Zionist trash is a bannable offense. I disavow this statement, as I am a loyal soldier for Twitch, and I do not want to get banned so I can continue being an outward critic of the Israeli state and the things that the Israeli state does. Okay? You should not say it in the chat either. You will get reported. But the reality of the matter is Dana Fash is a fascist. That's it. Zionism is a fascist ideology. Dana is not Jewish. Wait, why is she at a synagogue? I mean, it doesn't matter if she's Jewish or not, regardless. But I think she is. But that plays no role in this. Okay? Haas, you are so cooked. Why am I cooked? What? I'm not saying anything. Yeah. You laughing has been clipped and shipped already, I'm afraid. Okay, whatever. Everybody calm down. Listen to me. I think Dana Fash is Jewish. But her background, her religious background, her ethnic background plays no role in this calculation. Okay? It does not. You just called it fascism? What? Would you enjoy pro-Israel people yelling at you every night outside your house? I don't think that's appropriate or helpful. You just called it fascism? Brother, first of all, it is. Okay? What are you saying? It literally is. It is an ethno-supremacist, ethno-religious supremacist ideology that is built around the forceful expulsion of the outgroup. That is fascism to a T. Okay? You might not agree with that, but it is the reality. Okay? I don't know if you covered this yet, but the New York Times killed an investigation into Israeli hooliganism story seeking to disprove the initial reporting. They accidentally, yeah, I saw. They accidentally reported the internal emails. They forwarded to an electronic intifada reporter. I saw that. Yeah, we covered it yesterday. It was very funny. I mean, it's not very funny that they just straight up dunked on it, but straight up yeeted the story into orbit. Okay. Dana Bash is complicit and a propagandist, a mouthpiece for American-backed genocide in Gaza that Israel is conducting. That is the truth. Okay? Criticizing that and protesting that is understandable. There is a difference between good things and bad things. Also, when people go, oh, how would you like it if pro-Israeli people were outside your house yelling at you all the time? Brother, pro-Israeli people and institutions, organizations that are pro-Israel are literally for the past month now trying to get me banned off this platform. What are you saying? Oh man, what would I ever do? What would I ever do if pro-Israeli people would actively try to stop me from criticizing Israel? I wonder what that would look like. These people do this because they're powerless. People do this because they are powerless, because they know CNN is never going to fire Dana Bash for being pro-Israel. Okay? I just described to you that, Zionist is no longer an appropriate term that is allowed on this platform. How do you think that happened? Let's continue.
For the intifada against me?
Okay. I'm not going to single out the extremists. You talked about the protests on campus.
Those are extremists.
Those are not anti-Semitic.
There are many genuine pro-Palestinian protests.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
What I am talking about are when people say from the river to the sea, they want to do away.
Yeah. The real problem here is saying that Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. That's the real issue. Not the hundreds of thousands, not the millions displaced, hundreds of thousands, every single school bombed, every single hospital bombed with American weapons, by the way. with unlimited support for Israel to do so. That's not a real issue. The real issue is how my feelings. The real issue is my feelings, okay? And how scary it is when people say emancipatory slogans about Palestinians. That is what's scary, and that is anti-Semitic. Shut the up. Just melting children on a daily basis. Like, how unimaginably narcissistic, self-involved, ridiculous. How ridiculous, dude. Wow, people are against my position, as I have routinely stated and compared college campus protesters to neo-Nazis in the United States of America, as I'm going to continue doing over and over again. Dana Bash also personally participated in the Rashida Tlaib slander campaign started by Jake Tapper when they turned around and said Dana Nessel, Rashida Tlaib's criticisms of Dana Nessel, demanding accountability from the Michigan Attorney General for a deep blue Democratic state with the largest Muslim population, the Attorney General prosecuting, going forward with the prosecution of campus protesters that were pro-Palestinian was a unique first step. That calls into question why the Attorney General's office in this regard was handling this situation differently than Black Lives Matter protesters, for example. That double standard, which is glaringly obvious, was immediately and roundly condemned and criticized by Dana Bash and Jake Tapper as anti-Semitic. What do you mean unique first step? It is unique for a democratic deep blue state like Michigan to go after protesters like this, okay? Protesters that are not harming anybody, okay? Claiming that they're being like anti-Semitic or engaging in obstruction of justice or whatever the fuck they slapped them with. They were demonstrating. Most attorney generals, even in red states, even in Texas, dropped these cases. Why the fuck did Michigan not do that? Michigan voted Trump, not deep blue. First of all, Michigan, until this last election, has been deep blue, and it still is deep blue in its state governance. What are you talking about? At the time when Rashida Tlaib was calling into question what the fuck was going on there, it was deep blue. MB Hassan, I think you'd be more effective if you did more fact-finding on stream as opposed to debunking. Just my thoughts on someone who respects your work. What do you mean? I do both of those things.
With the state of Israel, when they come to my house and go to other places.
Except that the Likud government says from the river to the sea.
What?
Yeah, they do. It's in their charter. And they're the ones who are doing genocide right now. But you have no issues with that, Dana. Or at least you aesthetically claim to be against it. Anyway.
In the future, the state of Israel have to control on the entire area from the river to the sea.
What?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about Gabor Mate in a second. But so we arrived at this, by the way, because we were just talking about Dana Fash. We were just talking about Dana Fash and how she had personally claimed that she didn't know where the neo-Nazis were coming from. And one of the things that is unique about, or not so unique, but like this is a consistent thing that she has done, right? Nazis protesting outside his house. She's Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report is here talking about the other person that is standing across from Dana Fash, this Ohio congressperson, this Democrat from Ohio. By the way, Dana Bash was literally there to promote her book. I think that the Jewish ladies who were there to dialogue are more rightfully in a place of worship than some dumbass promoting her book. Yeah, that too. The people protesting outside of his house that she compared to literal Nazis were his constituents begging their congressman to condemn the genocide. His background is in education, so they tried to raise awareness of the schools being bombed to get him to care. He ignored them and just complained about their protests and implied they were all anti-Semitic. What are people supposed to do when you don't listen to the reasonable demands that they are making? What are they supposed to do? This is an act of desperation. Protesters gather outside Representative Landman's home 1 year after the October 7th terror attacks. It's so dumb. Like this is people who are still holding on to the idea that these politicians are kind humans in their hearts, okay? These are people who are doing this final act of desperation. Do you understand? This is a final act of desperation from people who say, listen, please, please do the right thing. You're not going to do it. It seems like you haven't done it, but maybe if you understand, maybe if we can tug at your heartstrings as you are an educator, maybe we can get you to comprehend that like other educators overseas are being blown up with our weapons, with our bombs. I'm Jewish, and the safety I felt at pro-Palestine protests this past years have been insurmountable. These are peace-loving individuals who want to see an end to the genocide, period. Exactly. I just got a response from him on Israel's attack on Lebanon. He said Iran has been attacking Israel for a long time. He also voted yay for 94-95. It's so incredibly frustrating that these people operate like this. This is not a decent shield, okay? It is not a shield that works any longer. It actually serves a very anti-Semitic purpose. When you tie Judaism falsely to an apartheid regime doing a genocide, you think in the interim period it might be an adequate defense. You might be able to even silence some critics, okay? But all you are doing is falsely smearing the Jewish population with the crimes of a nation state that does not have the Jewish population's best interest in mind. I will never stand down from this unimaginably dangerous mischaracterization, okay? I will always protest against it. I will always speak the truth. If you demand that I lie to you, I'm not going to do that. It's so annoying.
Thank you. I'll go back to your lecture, and you talked about compassion of recognition, compassion of understanding, compassion of truth. We are approaching October 7th.
Yeah.
When the horrible massacre happened in Israel.
Yeah.
Where young children were murdered, burned, babies in ovens.
That didn't happen. There were no babies in ovens.
Yeah. There were babies in ovens in Deir Yassin during the Nakba, where Haganah, Lihi, and Irgun, these different terror cells, some of which that openly called themselves terror cells, by the way, went into Palestinian villages, and they did actually, in at least one of them in Deir Yassin, threw a child into an oven and made his father watch, and then threw his father into that oven afterwards as well. So it's not a thing that has never happened. It certainly has happened. It just did not happen on October 7th. The people that did that then led, that went on to create the Israeli nation state, by the way.
Oh, yes, they were.
No, they weren't. That's been refuted even by the Israelis. Let's agree on what we do agree on, okay? A horrible massacre happened. People were killed in their homes. Civilians
were killed, were raped.
There's been no evidence of mass deliberate rapes. I'll let you finish your question.
How
Go
do
ahead.
I find compassion for these people?
Which people?
The animals that did that.
The animals that did that. How do we have compassion for these animals? I've been to Palestine. 2.5 years ago, I went there to work with Palestinian women who've been tortured in Israeli jails, which has been documented by Israeli Physicians for Human Rights, by B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, by United Nations and others. Nobody ever talks about the thousands of Palestinians. Did you know that 2 Palestinian doctors were tortured to death recently by Israel? Doctors tortured to death. History did not begin on October the 7th. In Canada, 4 years ago, there was a poll. Now, thousands of children died in those schools. People were tortured, raped, all kinds of stuff. 70% of Canadians knew nothing or little about the residential schools. So what happened to indigenous people? If you do a poll in the United States, until very few years ago, and even now, most people will know nothing about what happened to the indigenous people here. Nothing. The genocide, the torture, the rape, the starvation. They know nothing about it. And in some states in the United States, it's illegal to even to teach it in the schools. Do you think the average Jew knows anything about the indigenous people of Palestine? These animals that you talk about, the first massacre of Palestinians in Gaza didn't happen last year. Didn't even happen 4 or 5 years ago when they killed hundreds of children with their bombs. It happened in 1956. In 1956, they massacred 200 civilians. Do you know about it? You've never heard of it. Of course you haven't heard of it. That's why you can call them animals. Otherwise, you'd see them like human beings like the rest of us. That place where we call other people animals, if you want to live there, that's your choice. I don't want to live there. I want to understand people. I want to understand what happened to them. I want to know why they behave the way they behave. I'm not into justifying taking civilian hostages. I said that was unjustifiable. Why you didn't hear me, I don't know. I said there were massacres that shouldn't have happened. Why you didn't hear me, I don't know. You know why you didn't hear me? Because you live in a bubble, that's why.
What? Uses tactics against them, call him a Nakba denier? Lol. What are you talking about? Gabor Mate is the GOAT. That is a man who survived the Holocaust, okay, as a baby. Fantastic individual. Oof. Just hopped on as the Mike Isotel Calabrial. Yes, it's later in the day, in a couple hours. This is why I don't even trust the Democrats, but you will never catch me trusting the Republicans. This is a big mistake that a lot of people who are regular critics, critics, what the fuck is wrong with me today? Regular critics of the Democratic Party oftentimes end up losing their skepticism of the Republican Party. And it's dumb. It's dumb as if I'm skeptical of the Democrats and don't believe the Democrats, why the would I ever believe the Republicans? The reason why I'm skeptical of the Democrats is because of their closeness to the Republicans. This is something that I was very frustrated with when Glenn Greenwald would advocate for these positions early on before he went full tilt, right? Before he went full tilt right wing. Glenn Greenwald used to do this all the time. He would literally just like consistently hammer the Democrats. But then when it came to the Republican Party, he never had that same smoke for them. And it blew my mind. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, if you are angry at the Democrats, you should be unimaginably angry at the Republicans. What are we doing? So make no mistake. I hate to see Unc fall for this, okay? You have to remember, if you are critical of the Democratic Party, but then you find yourself believing some of the things that the Republicans are stating, I don't know. It's like Bernie Sanders. He's talking about working with the Trump administration. It's like, no, you're not, dog. You ain't getting shit done. You understand me? He is not doing shit for you. Okay? You barely got stuff done as a junior partner in the Biden coalition. You think Trump is going to give you anything? That's crazy. I think this comes from a place of the Democratic Party legitimately pushing away people in its own base over and over and over again. That's it. That's what is happening here. Okay? That's what happened in Dearborn. That's what happened with all the young men that went the Joe Rogan route. What happened to these young men? Where did they go? Well, there's an active and deliberate mechanism pushing everybody away. It's called the Democratic Party. And they're doing that because they don't want to win with these coalitions. They want to win on their own terms. And if they lose, it doesn't matter because that's going to yield a bountiful fundraising opportunity for them. All of the awfulness that the Republican Party will subject the American population to is, once again, in the simplest terms, a fantastic revenue opportunity. When I became a Democrat, it was the more tolerant party. Republicans were run by religious nutjobs and corporate robots. Now the Republicans are, in a lot of ways, the less tolerant party. The least tolerant part is actually the establishment wing of the party that says anyone opposing their anointed leaders is committing heresy. If you try to give them constructive criticism of the party to improve it, they drive you from the party while screaming, he's not a real Democrat. They hate populists. They have become the corporate robots I couldn't stand. They hate their base. They insult our intelligence by pretending that the donors are not in charge. They think we should be controlled and learn how to follow orders. And they have no idea how elitist they sound. Predictably, their unironic reaction to this post will be heretic. The issue with this statement is that, and I can't believe I'm repeating this, he's right about all of it. But there is a key detail that is being omitted from this, okay? Which is The Republicans are also run by the same corporate masters. Elon Musk is the richest person on the planet and directly manipulated the outcomes of this election. He personally was invested in Donald Trump. What the are we doing? Out of the top 10 mega donors, okay? Out of the top 10 mega donors, I think the top 7 in this election cycle that combined, I think, fundraised like almost $1 billion or whatever. Every single one of them donated to the Republican Party. Okay? Yes, we are uniparty in this country. Yes, absolutely, the Democrats are beholden to their corporate masters in the same exact ways that the Republicans are. But the notion that like one party is dishonest and beholden to their corporate benefactors and oftentimes incredibly resistant to change, while the other party is also doing that exact same shit, it just like makes no sense. It makes no sense. I think he's right in the sense that Republicans embrace anyone who claims to be a Republican, sex offender or not, while Democrats hate progressives more than Republicans. Yes, this is true. And this needs to change. This is true, and it needs to change. And the Democratic Party is dog shit for doing this, okay? He's right about this. But I warn people, as I always have and always will, that this kind of thinking, if this kind of thinking leads you down the assumption that like, well, there's some honesty in the Republican Party, and that's all you care about without thinking about the underlying issues of policy and underlying issues of the Republican Party's overarching ideology, their ideological interest in maintaining capitalism and being beholden to the same corporate masters, but having the permission to be honest about that because of their position in the American duopoly, you are going to find yourself captivated by snakes in a different suit. This is not me advocating to hug and kiss and hold on to the Democrats. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying we should forcibly change the trajectory and the ideological goals of the Democratic Party, the one party in our duopoly that is supposed to be the counterbalance to growing fascism. Okay? There will never be a moment where I will turn around and say, man, the Republicans sure are great. I despise the Democratic Party for its closeness to the Republican Party. Okay? This is something that I will always stand on. This is something that I will always advocate for. And I do not trust the Democrats when they say they're going to do social safety nets. And that doesn't mean I'm going to trust the Republicans when they claim to do so. Okay? I certainly do not trust the Republicans when they say they're going to cut down on, military spending. The Republicans' hard-won diversity is strictly used as a weapon and a shield when they actively work for racist policies. Jenks is getting duped while he is correct. It's not one or the other. You can and must disown them both. Yeah. And that is what makes the criticism of the left so unbearable, because they view it as shitting on them when in reality it's criticism to make things better. I know. A lot of people have no understanding of where I'm coming from, where they're so primed, so conditioned into thinking, oh, you're a naysayer. You hate the Democrats. You're not a Democrat. You must be a Republican. That's what they say. And it's stupid, but the most outspoken parts of the Democratic Party's base of support have basically adopted this position, this framework. They do it. They do it in my chat. They do it on TikTok. I used to make fun of them all the time. I would ask them, show me your pay stubs. Is the DNC paying you? I have DNC operatives in my community. I talk to them. I debate with them. They openly will recognize that I'm right when, history absolves me of the sin of criticizing the Democratic Party. Where are your pay stubs? For many, they simply jump on this talking point without really examining it, because that's what they've heard from mainstream outlets. That's the mainstream outlets that are pumping this narrative over and over again. And people have no way to deal with the issue. They have no way of examining or interrogating what's wrong with this sentiment. And they just kind of go along with it without thinking about it. And it's wrong. Do you not get behind Democrat policies that you like? I do. Of course I do. And I defend it. The Republicans are more reasonable at this point. Trump's economic policy is going to be better for America, and that's better for everyone. Yeah, you're totally right. Mass deportation of 20 million people that are participating in the American economy in very meaningful ways will certainly be better or tariffs being slapped on all consumer goods coming in from China with no adequate, domestic manufacturing substitute will certainly also be inflationary, but that'll be good for the economy as well. No. And before people say you're a racist monster to this chatter, no, this chatter in many ways is no different than the average liberal who will defend the Democratic Party without ever questioning it. The average liberal that says like, oh, you don't understand, Gaza is going to be so much worse under Donald Trump. It's like, bro, you are, the people that you're advocating for are currently pummeling Gaza. What are you talking about? A lot of people simply just repeat shit without thinking about it. And this is something that many people don't understand. Trump taps Dr. Mehmet Oz to serve as Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator. Oh my God, we got a Turkish goat in the building. We got a Turkish goat in the building. Oh my God. Okay, dude. Put him in charge of Pennsylvania, dude. Okay, look, I don't like Mehmet Oz. Okay. I don't like Mehmet Oz at all, as you guys know, but I got him do this for a second for the Turks out there. What was he doing? The thing I don't understand jokes or what is happening? Is this more terror support? These people are singing in scary language. Please stop. Yeah. Another instance of supporting terrorism once again for showcasing Mehmet Marsha. The whole chat said I was nuts for saying Trump was significantly better on Ukraine and North Korea than the Democrats, and now Biden in the lame duck has massively escalated. I'm sorry, but I've been completely vindicated and I would like my flowers. You won't address this because I'm correct. What? Donald Trump put forth like war hawks in the competent aspects of his administration. What the fuck are you talking about? You think Marco Rubio is going to be de-escalatory? No. America is the most uniparty when it comes to foreign policy, okay? Because American foreign policy is not dictated by ideological considerations. American foreign policy is dictated by capitalism and upholding capitalism. Okay, bro said he's going to end it. Yeah, okay, dude. He also said he's going to end he's going to let Israel finish the job on Gaza. What does that mean? You think he's going to be better on Gaza? You think he's going to be better for the Palestinians? Get the out of here. Okay, America's interests in Ukraine have nothing to do with the emancipatory goals of Ukraine, ridding its national boundaries of Russian invaders. Okay, America's goals is to offload all of their older equipment and keep the military engine running. It is in their best interest to continue the war for as long as Ukraine can hold out, for as long as Ukraine has people who can hold on to these arms and shoot in the direction of the Russian forces. America will continue to escalate, and America will continue to give Ukraine weapons over and over again. While I disagree with the long-range missiles, unless it's going to be a significant shift in this battle, and I don't think it will because of the reasons that I just gave you, okay? There is no ideological difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, okay? Emancipatory goals, LMFAO. No, I'm serious. Yeah, like you think America is invested in in the freedom of Ukraine? No, they don't. They don't care about that. That's not a real thing. That's never been a real consideration. Please, guys. Why do you think Trump's advent is motivated entirely by capital? Mass deportation contradicts that. The argument against mass deportation, or the argument against white nativist anti-immigrant sentiment, is that it's a wonderful mechanism to distract away from the real holders of capital, the real enemies of the American working class. And number two, the two-tier structure that is created within documented and undocumented labor is literally the most capitalist thing. It is capitalism in overdrive. It is hyper-exploitative. Without the proper paperwork, these people are purposefully put in a position where they're outside of the boundaries of the regular legal system where they can demand back pay and have some sort of recourse. The entire purpose of having this two-tier labor structure is for capitalist interests. If there was a real racist, white nativist, anti-immigrant purpose here, they would pull the Portland route, okay? Oregon was originally invented as a white enclave, so much so that they were anti-slavery. Why were they anti-slavery? Because they didn't want to be around black people that bad, okay? If someone was really that racist, if there was a real, genuine racist priority here and not simply a capitalist one, they would be punishing business owners that knowingly hire undocumented labor. They will never do that, okay? They will never do that. Imagine deporting corporate owners and executives for hiring migrant labor and farmhands. That would never happen in a million years. The entire system is designed in a way where you can use and hyper exploit these undocumented laborers. This depresses wages for every American across the board. Okay. It keeps the cost of goods relatively low, especially in the agricultural sector, for example. And then simultaneously, these people have no legal recourse. So then you call ICE on your own labor force and you wipe them out. And then you go back to the same veins and you tap a new, fresh pool of undocumented migrant workers and you bring them to the same trailer park that you now evicted a ton of undocumented laborers from. That's it. Is that also logic for tariffs? So we blame China for everything? I still don't understand why he pushes for tariffs. I think tariffs are supposed to be a substitute for all the tax cuts that are coming in. And it's also a mechanism for Donald Trump to influence the corporate. It's a mechanism to influence corporate leaders to terrify them with the threat of tariffs in their sector if they don't comply. That's what I think. So it's to clean the slate and reduce their wage prices. I think that mass deportation will not come in the way that you think it will. I think that they are going to forcibly enslave the undocumented laborers in private prison facilities that they will build and force them back to work at gunpoint, potentially. There's also a never-ending pool of undocumented workers that will always come to the United States of America. We have destroyed the global South. And, that is one of the many bountiful benefits of such a process. Both climate change and our direct intervention to the global South have created migration patterns that are impossible to combat unless you change trajectory on foreign policy in general. Okay? This has to be the craziest take I've ever heard you have. We are going to enslave people now. Come on, man, brother. We already enslave people. It's called the 13th Amendment. Slavery as a form of punishment is not only legal and constitutionally protected. Californians literally voted to maintain slavery as a form of punishment this past election cycle by 53%. Okay? Now, of course, we don't frame it in that way because of Western chauvinism. We always say, oh, work camps, gulags, they only do that in Russia. Okay? They do that in, one chatter said, Xinjiang. Yeah, they do that in China. They do that in Russia. They don't do that here. It's like, dude, we have literally the number one. We have the largest slave force on the planet. You understand that, right? We have direct state penitentiaries that are named after the plantation that they're placed upon, like Angola, the Louisiana State Penitentiary, okay, where the overwhelming majority of the prisoners are black. And yes, they literally pick cotton. Aren't they criminals? Wait, what? So you are fine with slavery. Got it. Okay. Yeah. The people in prison. Okay. We are going to be putting undocumented migrants in prison as well, and we will enslave them. Now you've arrived at exactly what I was saying. You are fine with slavery as a form of punishment. It seems like you understand exactly what we were doing. I don't think we are going to engage in mass deportation. I think we're going to engage in mass enslavement. And then deportation, but deportation is too costly, so we'll kill them. That's what I think. Okay? If you want to know what the agenda looks like, well, I can only look back in history at a time when this happened before, when Adolf Hitler wanted to do a mass deportation policy for Jews and socialists and trade unionists alike, and he started it with a Madagascar plan, and it ended with death camps. There's plenty of fascist historic precedent to point to if you want to understand where America is heading towards. This is an unimaginably costly endeavor. Deportation is bilateral. Other countries have to agree to receiving people. Yeah. Well, not only that, but also we already dominate Mexico, or at least Mexico plays ball to a certain degree with playing the role of border security, with the hopes that they don't get too much scrutiny from the United States of America. And they've played ball so far. Don't know if they'll continue to do so, but I doubt that they would be open to the mass deportation of tens of millions of people. Also, this happened in the United States of America before. Anyway, I thought it would be enslavement of the existing U.S. prison population. That already happens.